you know, let's face it, in Australia, we too are having debates about multiculturalism. This was the policy of multiculturalism, and is this when you started really questioning what had been, which was at that time very strongly the liberal Dutch policy, that basically you took in refugees and you allowed them to maintain their values and principles within that society. This is what we also do here, as you know. Tell us why you believe, you said in your books you describe multiculturalism as a form of racism. We think it's a form of generosity and understanding.
Yeah. It's a form of generosity and understanding to the perpetrators of, the perpetrators in subjecting weak parties, women and children, to a system in which they derive a very temporary fulfillment. I say temporary because I can't imagine Muslim men thinking that that is a permanent fulfillment for this world. Their children are brought up by women who haven't gone to school, who have been oppressed, and an ignorant mother is not a good mother. From the perspective of the women who are oppressed within a liberal society and who were denied their rights, they didn't see it as respect. They didn't see it as, respect for their religion or their way of life. There was this passive attitude that if you saved them out of that system, some of them would think it's Allah who willed it. If you didn't, it was also Allah who willed it. But there were a few individuals, amazing individuals, who during my years as a translator, during my years as an asylum seeker, my years as a translator, my years as a member of parliament, would come out of that system, and who for some reason walked into the wrong person, full of ideas of cultural relativism, and they were given back, they were put back in the situations where they continued to be oppressed because their fathers or their husbands or their uncles, their cousins were respected for doing so. The argument from those who were respecting was always, we don't want to impose our Western Eurocentric values on the newcomers. There must be something good about female genital mutilation. There must be something about the dynamics within a Muslim family that we don't understand, and it could be something good. And it was an exemption and an excuse that the Catholic family wouldn't get, or the Orthodox Jewish family wouldn't get, or the very Orthodox Protestant families wouldn't get. And the more excuses we made for Muslim families, the more I thought this is a reverse racism, where you're excusing all kinds of bigotry and entrenching very low expectations. And the more you look at it and you look at the result of individuals who grow up in oppressive Muslim families within liberal societies.
So you're saying to me it's the liberal society's responsibility?
No,
that your argument?
No.
Write it?
No, it's not the responsibility. It's not the responsibility of liberal society. But liberal societies enable, enhance, ignore what is going on. You can never say an oppressor, the person who makes the decision to take away the rights and freedoms of others, it's that person's responsibility, but it's also the responsibility of the victim who should, I find, make at least one attempt to get away. And sometimes you don't have that opportunity. For those oppressed in a liberal society, there is a great deal of opportunity that people who are oppressed in non-free societies simply don't have. I just want to describe where the two, there is a dynamism where, let me give you an example. I think an example works better. I am a Muslim woman. My father wants to marry me off at the age of 15. I go to school. I tell my school teacher, I'm afraid that my father is going to marry me off, but I want to continue with my education. My teacher says, oh great, we're going to talk to your father and we're going to talk all this nonsense out of his head. The father comes in and he tells the teacher, if you even go so far as to say what you've just said, I'm going to file a complaint with the anti-discrimination organization there. The teacher then thinks, I didn't want to ask for this kind of thing, and backs away. A week later, the student doesn't show up. The teacher knows why the student doesn't show up. The student writes to her mentors, she writes to her teachers, she emails, she gets no response. That's what I mean. It's not the responsibility of the teacher that this girl is married off by her father, put in a situation that she doesn't want to, denied her education, raped by a man she doesn't want to be with. It's not the teacher's responsibility. But there is something within a liberal society that that teacher could have done.